I laughed when my husband completely embarrassed himself trying to catch our son in a lie. Our son Noah is 17, a senior in high school and honestly one of the easiest kids you could ask for. Good grades, part-time job at a grocery store, home by curfew. If he messes up, it's usually something small like forgetting to take out the trash. My husband Ryan, on the other hand, has always been convinced that teenagers are secretly up to something at all times. He grew up strict and seems to think that if he doesn't stay one step ahead, Noah will spiral into chaos overnight. A couple of weeks ago, Noah started coming home later than usual. Nothing extreme, just pushing his usual 6:30 arrival closer to 7:30. He said he was staying after school to work on a group project. I believed him. Ryan absolutely did not. He started making comments like, "Funny how group projects always happen after dark, and that kid's hiding something." I told him to relax, but once Ryan gets an idea in his head, there's no stopping him. One evening, Noah came home quiet and went straight to his room. Ryan immediately started grilling me. Did I notice his tone? His posture? The way he didn't make eye contact? Ryan was convinced this was proof something shady was going on. I told him teenagers have moods and to drop it. Instead, he decided he was going to get answers himself. The next morning, Ryan woke up early and went through Noah's backpack while Noah was in the shower. I told him not to, that it was a huge violation of trust, but he brushed me off and said parents have a right to know. A few minutes later, he came into the kitchen holding a folded piece of paper, like he'd just cracked a major case. He was practically buzzing with excitement. He said he'd found notes that proved Noah was lying. Apparently, there were scribbled reminders about meeting. After school, don't forget meds and check in tonight. Ryan immediately jumped to the conclusion that Noah was sneaking around with someone or dealing with something dangerous. He spent the entire morning planning this dramatic confrontation, rehearsing what he'd say, talking about consequences and grounding. That afternoon, Noah came downstairs to grab a snack before heading out. Ryan told him to sit down. He laid the paper on the table and launched into a speech about honesty, responsibility, and how disappointed he was. Noah looked genuinely confused. Ryan started reading the notes out loud, clearly expecting Noah to break down and confess. Instead, Noah just stared at him and then started laughing. Not a nervous laugh, a full-on incredulous laugh. Ryan stopped mid-sentence, completely thrown off. Noah explained that the notes weren't about him at all. They were reminders for helping his coworker Luis, a guy a few years older who'd been recently diagnosed with epilepsy. Noah had been staying late to cover shifts, so Luis could go to doctor appointments, and reminding him to take his medication and check in when he got home safely. The room went dead silent. Ryan looked like someone had unplugged him. Noah kept talking, explaining that Luis didn't want management knowing about his condition yet because he was scared of losing hours. Noah said he didn't tell us because it wasn't his story to tell. He just thought he was doing the right thing. That's when I laughed. I couldn't help it. The look on Ryan's face was priceless. He'd built this whole narrative in his head about secret lives and bad choices, and instead our kid was just quietly being a decent human being. Noah shook his head, grabbed his jacket, and said, "Next time, just ask me instead of playing detective." Then he left. Ryan spent the rest of the day sulking and trying to justify what he did, saying he was just being a concerned parent, but even he knew he'd messed up. When Noah got home that night, he barely spoke to him. It's been a few days now, and Ryan's finally realizing that mistrust does a lot more damage than the thing you're afraid of finding. I laughed when my husband completely embarrassed himself trying to catch our son in a lie. Our son Noah is 17, a senior in high school and honestly one of the easiest kids you could ask for. Good grades, part-time job at a grocery store, home by curfew. If he messes up, it's usually something small like forgetting to take out the trash. My husband Ryan, on the other hand, has always been convinced that teenagers are secretly up to something at all times. He grew